Hi guys, welcome back to Invincible Asia. What you're about to see is a short Q&A video that I was asked to do for the release of Drive from Idiot Films. And much like the Tiger Cage trilogy, it unfortunately didn't make the cut. So I've just thought I'd put it here on the channel for you all to see rather than just let it go to waste. Yeah, so hope you enjoy it. It's just my own personal views on the movie and what it means to me. I first came across Drive when I read about it in the late 90s in Impact Movie Magazine. Soon after that, I was living in Toronto. I found it on VHS in a local Blockbuster store, but I was so friggin' poor that I couldn't afford to rent it, which really annoyed me. Whenever I returned home to Northern Ireland a couple of years later, I did manage to find it on X-Rental on VHS, which excited me. And soon after that, the DVD market really picked up, and I found it then as an early release from Hong Kong Legends. I got it on DVD, but I didn't have a DVD player, so I had to pull a few strings, work a few extra shifts, and got my first DVD player just so I could watch Drive on DVD. Of course, that was the director's cut, which was even more exciting to see. And I probably watched it, I honestly would say, a good solid 2 weeks, every day for a solid 2 weeks. It was that exciting. I was so happy to watch this movie over and over and over. I had known of Steve Wang as early in the early 90s because I fell in love with his first movie, the Guyver, released here as Mutronics in the UK, of course, and then its sequel, Guyver Dark Hero. And then, interestingly enough, whenever I was at the Freak Show Horror Film Festival in 2008 with my first movie, Battle of the Bone, I met a guy there called Wild Weed, and we became really good friends. And it turns out that he worked with Steve as an assistant director or in the effects department on movies such as The Guyver, Kung Fu Rascals, and of course, Drive. Oh, Mark Dacascos. Absolutely love Mark Dacascos, of course. First saw him in American Samurai way back when and had an amazing crush on him, but also knew that this guy had something special. You know, his looks, his moves. This guy had to be a star someday, and I wanted to keep an eye on that. Of course, before Drive came about, I got to see him in movies like Only the Strong, Double Dragon, Kickboxer 5, The Redemption, Crying Freeman, Sabotage, things like that. But it was definitely Drive that really wowed me with what Mark could do. And to be honest, I'm shocked that he hasn't really gotten the attention he's deserved, or at least quicker, noting his appearances in the likes of Wu Assassins on Netflix or John Wick 3, for example. But this guy has just been amazing in everything that he's in, really wowing audiences with his performances here in Drive, and especially in the director's cut, which really sells him even better. Crying Freeman, which was wonderful, which still has yet to receive a proper US release. China Strike Force, he does a great job in. Cradle to the Grave, where he takes on Jet Li, and of course the amazing Brotherhood of the Wolf. I mean, why this guy isn't a household name already is just frustrating. If I was to try and sell Drive to someone who hadn't seen it yet, I would say it was one of the greatest Hong Kong movies never made in Hong Kong. It is packed with some amazing action and comedy that never slows down for a moment. And it takes everything you love about those 80s and 90s cop buddy movies and really cranks it up to 11. In fact, why it's never had a sequel by now is really, really, really annoying. I absolutely love the pairing of Mark and Kadeem here in Drive. They have such a natural chemistry together that really comes across well on screen. In fact, it angers me that we're never going to see any more stories with these characters, these guys together, unfortunately. And the fact that neither of them were really A-list stars as such, I think helps keep their heads out of their asses and allows them to have a wee bit more fun with their roles without taking it too seriously. And as much as I love Rush Hour, and Jackie Chan is my all-time hero, of course, There's no doubt that Drive is a far superior movie, and I think that just comes down to pure entertainment alone. Even though they both come out around the same time, it's obvious that Rush Hour had the Hollywood machine behind it and had Jackie Chan in there. And that's what really pushed it to become the bigger blockbuster that it really, really did. But I put my money on it that if you put Drive and Rush Hour side by side in the cinema for a weekend, I reckon that Drive would sell out much quicker than its Hollywood counterpart. Before I'd even got my hands on Drive, I had caught the talents of Koichi and the Alpha Stunts team in films like The Guyver, the Power Rangers TV show, of course, Martial Law 2, aka Karate Cop here in the UK, Mission of Justice, Martial Outlaw with Jeff Wincott, and films like Savate, Sword of Honor, Beverly Hills Ninja, and even Space Truckers, which interestingly enough was shot here in Ireland. And I've always enjoyed their work. There's definitely a strong taste of Hong Kong action there without taking it too far, so they don't kind of like lose their Western audience, which I really enjoy. And my door is always open if Koichi and co want to return to the Emerald Isle for another shoot, perhaps a belated sequel to Drive. I do think that Drive keeps its entertainment value because it never really takes itself too seriously, to be honest. It's a genuinely fun film that has some incredible martial arts sequences and the amazing Mark Dacascos, of course. The comedy is genuinely funny, especially those scenes involving the late Brittany Murphy. And some of the stunt work is so amazing and painful to watch. I mean, I've never tired of watching it in the last 25 years, and it scares me that it's been that long already. But I can't understand why Steve was never offered anything bigger. I suppose that's one of life's biggest mysteries, as is why it never got a sequel. But yeah, I mean, the guy has been incredibly busy as an effects artist on movies such as Predator, Reign of Fire, Blade Trinity, Alien vs. Predator, Hellboy, X-Men, and so much more. But I don't think it's the last we've seen of Steve just yet.